DreamWorks has made a lot of great movies and shows over the years. And some or most of them have, well, couples. So I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best. However, I am going to be setting up some rules though. Rule 1. I'm only going to be doing the studio, which is the main studio from where the couples are from, and that is DreamWorks Animation. Rule 2. So, I was originally not going to involve the sequels, but I realized that some of the sequels made the couples better or maybe worse. So yeah, I am going to involve the sequels from what made the couple turn out. Rule 3. I'm not going to do a couple that has been introduced only in the sequels, like Toothless and Light Fury. And lastly, Rule 4. So I am going to do a couple that has been introduced in the DreamWorks original TV shows. Couples like Cachadora. So yeah, that's basically all the rules. So, I counted and there were 26 couples. Let's rank. In last place we have Mr. and Mrs. Tweety from Chicken Run. I made these two last place because they are so toxic to each other. I mean, Miss Tweety is not just awful to animals, but to people as well. She just keeps insulting her husband, rolling her eyes at him, and keeps telling him that chickens aren't intelligent. In fact, she also abuses him, physically. Mr. Tweety, on the other hand, doesn't even care about his wife. When she dies, or get injured, and I don't know what happened to her, he doesn't even react to her at all. In number 25, we have Susan and Derek from Monsters vs. Aliens. In the beginning of the movie, Susan and Derek were starting out pretty fine, just like a normal happy couple with a happy wedding. Until Derek told Susan that they had to do a change of plans. I mean, who just cancels their honeymoon just because of the sake of a job interview? And then Susan just supports them instead of telling him how disappointed she is. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being supportive of your spouse's dreams. But there is a difference when it comes to situations like this. And things got even worse since Susan became Ginormica. Derek keeps his mind focused on his job instead of helping Susan. And then he just dumped her. I mean, what the heck, dude? And then things got a little twisted at the end of the movie. Derek was in Susan's neighborhood, forgave her, and then Susan just flicked him off. But we gotta give her credit for that because my girl deserves better. For number 24, we have Oscar and Angie from Shark Tale. Like with Susan and Derek, those two had a very fine start, except it lasted for a little longer. At the start of the movie, they were best friends, like there was no conflict. When Oscar was in debt, Angie helped him by giving him the pink pearl. And then at the top of the penthouse, Oscar decides to give him back to her, but as a necklace. And then things took a turn when Angie discovers the truth. Angie got mad and kept yelling at Oscar. And then after Oscar and Lola kissed, Angie started to get a little green with jealousy. After a while, she confessed to Oscar in a very sad way. And when Angie was in danger, Oscar still screws around. And then at the end of the movie, Oscar just gave up all his fame and fortune just for Angie, realizing that she is more important than all of that. For number 23, we have Ginger and Rocky Rhodes from Chicken Run. Okay, I don't really like these two being a couple up due to how rocky they are. And despite Rocky saving Ginger a lot, I still do not like them. I think they would have been better off as friends. For number 22, we have Megamind and Roxanne Ritchie from Megamind. Okay, we all kind of know how the story works. Megamind was a supervillain who, keeps kidnapping Roxanne Ritchie all the time. And when he disguised himself as Bernard, he developed feelings for her. Things were going pretty awesome with these two until Roxanne just deactivated his disguise watch. Because of that, Roxanne dumped him out in the rain in the middle of the night. Then later on, they team up, try to figure out what Metro Man's weakness is to defeat Titan. After they discovered that Metro Man was alive, Megamind just gave up. Until Roxanne was kidnapped for the last time, Megamind was able to get his motivation back. And then he stopped Titan, saved the city, and then after that, they became a couple. Even though they were there for each other in the sequel, I feel like their relationship might get worse in the TV show. For number 21, we have Sinbad and Marina from Sinbad and the Legend of the Seven Seas. Okay, I don't really like these two a lot because we can't forget how sexist Sinbad was when she was on the ship. I think Marina is better off with Proteus. For number 20, we have Z and Princess Bala from Ants. Look, these two are just ants. So, yeah, I don't really like these two a lot, but they get some bonus points for being the first DreamWorks couple. For number 19, we have Moses and Zipporah from The Prince of Egypt. Even though those two did a lot together, like free their slaves and cross the entire desert, they only got to be a little higher for being the couple that actually existed. For number 18, we have Tulio and Chell from The Road to El Dorado. Okay, these two are a little hard because there is like this huge love triangle in the movie, but Chell did kiss Tulio, so I'm just gonna go with these two instead. So those three had a deal. Tulio told Miguel that Chell is off limits, but when Miguel isn't around, Tulio begins to be a little mischievous. Chell also becomes their guide of the city, and Miguel gets a little jealous. But when they escaped, Tulio realized that human connection was more important than being wealthy. Remember that. For number 17, we have Callum and Ryla, the Dragon Prince television series. Okay, from the start of the show, Ryla kind of saw Callum as an enemy, but then later on they become friends until season 3. Even though the relationship is healthy, the reason why they aren't very higher is because, well, don't blame me, but I'm not a Dragon Prince person. For number 16, we have Benson and Troy from Kipo and the Ages of the Wonder Beast. Okay, don't get me wrong, but Kipo and the Ages of the Wonder Beast is a good show. But I find Benson and Troy an okay couple to me. But like with Z and Princess Bala, they get to be a few points higher for being the first LLM DreamWorks couple. For number 15, we have Steve and Aja from 3 Below. Okay, I know I said that I'm not going to do couples that existed for the first time in the sequels, but Aja actually first appeared in one episode in Troll Hunters. So these two get a little exception. Okay, so these two were sort of an enemies to lovers trope, from Steve almost punching Krell in the face, and then there is Aja punching him. And then after that, Steve started to develop romantic feelings for her. From taking her to the bonfire, to taking her on a date with milkshakes, to Steve becoming a mom in the Troll Hunters movie. So yeah, these two were an okay couple with an okay chemistry. For number 14, we have Donkey and Dragon from the Shrek franchise. Ooh, this is gonna be a little long. I mean, who doesn't love Donkey and Dragon? In the first Shrek movie, Donkey was being a little terrified of Dragon. But the more they get closer to each other, the more their chemistry will bloom. And then at the end of the first movie, they become a couple. Okay, I can't explain the rest because everybody knows and loves the Shrek trilogy. But we can't get them in the top 10 because we can't forget how forceful Dragon was in the first movie and that Donkey ditched her in the second movie just because she was being all moody. For number 13, we have Puss in Boots and Kitty Softpaws from Puss in Boots. Again, Puss in Boots was a prequel, not a sequel. Like with Donkey and Dragon, Puss and Kitty had a rough start. Those two were planning on stealing the magic beans. Puss hit her on the head with a guitar and mistaken her for being a guy. But during their adventure with Humpty Dumpty, those two did a lot of flirting with each other and sharing their backstories. Okay, I also love Puss in Boots and Kitty Softpaws dance number 2 because dagnabbit, those two are so romantic with each other. And even when Puss got in jail, Kitty betrayed Humpty Dumpty and chose him. And then during the credits, they had dance scene number 3, making them one of the most iconic DreamWorks couples of all time. Until there was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Even though they were there for each other and fighting for each other, we can't forget about Santa Coloma, where Puss abandoned Kitty, even though Kitty wasn't there, just because he was scared. For number 12, we have Crop and Edith from the Captain Underpants movie. Okay, so we first see them by Crop showing his soft side on Edith just because he has a crush on her. And the same thing goes to Edith when he gave him the tuna casserole. And then at the end of the movie, when George and Harold did that nice prank, those two went out on a date. What makes these two even more healthy was when Principal Crop became Captain Underpants, Edith just went along with it instead of being disgusted by him. But they're not in the top 10 because we have not seen the relationship in the books and into that Netflix TV show. For number 11, we have King Gristle and Bridget from Trolls. Okay, when people ask me name a non-Disney Cinderella story, I probably think of Bridget and Gristle first, because their whole story of them getting together is basically a Cinderella story. There's nothing to say about them in Trolls World Tour, But in Trolls Band Together, we see those two getting married. Went out on their honeymoon, got kicked out by the water park, got kidnapped by the top trolls, and made out, like, twice. Now, let's move on with my top 10 favorite couples from DreamWorks. For number 10, we have Ruby and Connor from Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. Even though DreamWorks had other teen couples like the Tales of Arcadia trilogy, Ruby and Connor was another teen couple worth mentioning. Okay, so Ruby was going to ask Connor out for prom, even though it went wrong, but she saved him. Even though these two didn't get a lot of screen time, Ruby was still able to go to prom with her dream boy. Then at the end of the movie, we saw Ruby kiss Connor on the cheek, making them a teen couple. For number 9, we have Poppy and Branch from Trolls. Okay, we have an opposites attract couple, with Poppy being the happy and cheerful, and Branch being the emo and loner boy. So there's nothing a lot to say about them in the first movie, except Poppy was able to get him his true colors back, and Branch helping Bridget and Poppy with the romantic situation with Gristle. Even though these two, had a huge argument in the second movie, Branch sacrificed himself to save Poppy from becoming a rock troll. And then after just saying, they confess their love to each other, making them a couple. And the relationship gets better in the third movie. Not only did Poppy help Branch reunite with his brothers, but her journey also led her to her long-lost sister. And she still remained with Branch to save Floyd. Then after Better Plays, those two finally had their first kiss! And after the main version of Better Plays, Branch asked Poppy to join the band. We just can't help but love the iconic ones, can we? For number 8, we have Guy and Eve from The Croods. A couple where opposites really do attract. So in the first movie, they had a rough start, but they spent the rest of the movie bonding. Even though they had a huge argument in the sequel, we just can't help but see their first kiss in the sequel, can we? For number 7, we have Wolf and Diane from The Bad Guys. Like a few of the iconic couples, they had a rough start. I mean, there was Diane looking down on him to rooting and encouraging him. And then there was that dance scene, and the bad guys being the first to see the Crimson Paw's identity, which is Diane. And then there was Diane telling Wolf why she gave up being the Crimson Paw, to Wolf defending Diane by Diane almost revealing her identity of the Crimson Paw. Also, like Puss and Kitty, we get a lot of flirting scenes with these two. For number 6, we have Bo and Glimmer from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, they were the only couple that I expected to be a couple since the show came out, because I'm very used to the friends to lovers trope. So yeah, these two were a very awesome and lovable couple, except they're only a few points down and not at the top 5, because there was Bo lying to Glimmer about his home life with his dad, to that argument in season 4, but they made up in season 5. For number 5, we have Jim and Claire from Troll Hunters. Okay, there's nothing a lot to say about these two since they were pretty platonic until part 2 after Jim got back from the Badlands. In fact, they were there from each other, from Jim being a troll to almost saving him from death. We can't also forget that those two had cute dates, and that Claire decided to stay with Jim in the last episode of the show. There's nothing a lot to say about them in 3 Below, but there is a lot to say in Wizards. I mean, Claire was there for Jim, from taking him to his house before he got billed, to saving him from being the huge troll he turned into. Because of that, he was human again. They were there for each other in the movie until Jim decided to restart all the time. But let's just hope that they get back together. For number 4, we have Melman and Gloria from Madagascar. Okay, if you guys didn't notice, I am not a fan of animal couples, but Melman and Gloria are a lot better. A lot. There's nothing to say about these two in the first movie since they were just friends, very platonic, until the second movie, things starting to get a little interesting. Melman just said that he always loved Gloria, even though she was asleep and Alex and Barney knows about it. And then Gloria had a huge crush on Motomoto. But instead of trying to win her over, Melman tells Motomoto to treat Gloria like a queen and treat her right. And then there was a lava ceremony where Melman was going to sacrifice himself, thanks to Julian, so that the animals in Africa can have water. Until Gloria stopped him, just confessed to him that she has feelings for him too. And after that, they begin dating. There is nothing lost about them to say in the third movie, but Melman was being encouraged by Gloria by helping him dance. Also, Melman and Gloria knew each other their entire lives, so yeah, they're a friends to lovers trope. They may not be iconic, but they're still cute. For the bronze medal, we are giving it to Shrek and Fiona from the Shrek franchise. Okay, who doesn't hate and who doesn't love Shrek and Fiona? I mean, they're very iconic. I mean, Fiona's journey to Farquaad was romantic with Shrek. Shrek was able to die for Fiona in the fourth movie, and then becoming a family in the third movie. Even though those two tend to be a little disrespectful around each other and arguing a lot, we're gonna give them the bronze medal for being the most realistic DreamWorks couple. For the silver medal, we are giving it to my favorite gay couple, Cachadora, from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Okay, I love Cachadora. I mean, they are just perfect for each other. I mean, what can I say about them? They're a childhood best friends to enemies to lovers trope. The alternate reality where Adora's life was perfect with Catra. That princess prom dance scene in the episode Princess Prom. To Adora being the exact reason why Catra redeemed herself. In fact, Catra was able to sacrifice herself for Adora. Then there was that scene where Catra confessed her love to Adora when Adora was on the brink of death. To that kiss scene, and to them with the forehead moments, I just got. So yeah, I love these two so much that they're my number one favorite gay couple. But Kira, if you love them so much, why aren't they number one? Well, that's because they only got together in the last episode. We don't know what kind of adventures or dates these two might hold, but I feel like the relationship might be stable. For the gold medal, we have the one, the only, the best DreamWorks couple, Hiccup and Astrid, from the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Okay, some of y'all seen this coming. Unlike Fiona and Shrek for having a lot of development, Hiccup and Astrid have a lot of screen time. Like, a lot. Like, from the first movie, to those short films, to that TV series, to How to Train Your Dragon 2, to How to Train Your Dragon Hidden World, and then to How to Train Your Dragon Homecoming. Dang it, there's a lot. Okay, like with the iconic ones, these two had a very rough start. Hiccup was an awkward teen who caused a lot of trouble, making Astrid look down on him. And then after the rest of the Dragon Trainers seeing Hiccup's growing success, Astrid starts to get a little jealous of that in the first half of the film. And then there was that romantic fight with Toothless. Because of that, Astrid's love for Hiccup started to blow, making Astrid the first to believe in Hiccup. Okay, they were there for each other in the short films, and then they also got together and they were still there for each other in the TV show. Show's actually pretty good, I gotta admit. Okay, I'm not gonna go through every moment in the TV show in second season 3 when Astrid got really sick. Hiccup said that he can't imagine a world without her, and then Astrid said that in return, which is really cute. The relationships get even better in the sequels. We also have cute couple banter scenes like the punches in the arm Astrid gives to Hiccup, and then to that play fight in the third movie. I love that scene. And then in the third movie, we actually see Hiccup and Astrid get married and having 2 kids. And they made their kids that dragons are friendly in the ride with Toothless. So yeah, guys, that's basically it for the video. Remember, don't forget to, well, everybody knows, like and subscribe, blah, blah, blah. If there was anything I forgot, let me know in the comments. And to those of you who think Cachadora is toxic, stay away from my channel! And don't even think about putting those negative comments about them. Stay out! But let me know what I should do or rank next. Let me know what your top 10 favorite couples from DreamWorks are in the comments. In any case, bye!